All right, we are live. How is everybody doing today? Learning 66, since you asked before the stream started, he asked, curious to hear everyone's input on snap-on cordless ratchets. I have a Matco that's getting... inconvenient call from Oz Mechanics. Who just messaged me. I have a Matco that's getting tired considering the snap-on lineup. Want something that's going to last 10 years like the Matco. My experience with the snap-on ratchets, as James Jones said, as long as you don't over torque on it, it tends to do fine. Batteries do last well. I remember I had one of the first extended reach ones they had. I am a Milwaukee fanboy as well. But they are decent tools. I will pick the Milwaukee every time personally, but they are good tools. So I don't know why Oz was calling me when I'm about to go live, but anyway. So yeah, they work. They work fine. I wouldn't, my preference would be Milwaukee for obvious reasons, but the snap-ons, as long as you've got a dealer that's going to service you, they'll do fine. So other than that, couple quick notes. I've got severe storms in the area, so just FYI, internet's been crappy today. I've had to restart my home network multiple times on my phone because internet's been going in and out, so I'm not making any guarantees on this being a long-lasting live stream, but, it is what it is. So, but yeah, we had some really bad storms coming last night and they're coming in again. Just a lot of wind for some reason. Aunt D, I can't remember the part number off the top of my head, but I love my Milwaukee 1/4-inch fuel. I love my Milwaukee ratchets. I use them constantly and definitely would have no trouble recommending them to anybody. But he did ask about the snap-on. As Big Sean's Auto said, had a snappy 3/8 gun versus my 3/8 stubby Milwaukee. Snappy wouldn't budge the exhaust bolts, but my stubby zipped them right off. So yeah, no, I mean, I definitely a Milwaukee fanboy here. Y'all know that. I don't hide that. I think they make really good products, but I can't say that Snap-on makes, in the case of the ratchets, bad products. I broke my own wishes on buying Snap-on electric tools when I bought my extended reach. I think I traded it to Eric at the shop. I think. I don't remember. But I don't have it anymore. So anyway. So I don't think Snappy has a torque. Probably not. I mean, Snappy got sued from Milwaukee for stealing their battery technology. So, and they've never really been really good at making most power tools. Their 1/2-inch impacts on the air side always sucked. And they had a good 3/8. They had good ratchets. Their air hammer's great, but a lot of their other air tools are mid, and I think most of their electric tools are mid. So, anyway, Keith Cartwright, great videos this week. FRM have worked in shops and dealers that went under. It sucks big time. Yeah, no, I think there's going to be a lot of that going around. The more and more I see rumblings of a lot of shops in trouble, and you know, it's always concerning because, you know, you're expecting a paycheck and all of a sudden you don't get one. It can be very detrimental to a lot of people's life. I mean, you know, I did an example of my old shop. He had a payroll problem. You know, he had money. It wasn't like he didn't have money to pay payroll. It was merely, it happened twice actually, but it was changing payroll companies and stuff didn't go through. He literally wrote everybody a check. So don't think I'm disparaging him on that at all. But when he came up to me and he's like, you know, do you need me to write you a check right now? I'm like, no, I'm fine. You know, when it goes through, it'll go through, no big deal. And everybody else in the shop at the time was like, no, I need money now. I need money now. Stuff's going to bounce if I don't have this money. So he wrote me a check. I didn't care because I don't try to operate on paycheck to paycheck, but you know, a lot of people do. Or it could just be bad timing where, you know, your mortgage payment, car payment comes out that week. And, you know, those are always a little tough. But you know, I try to, you know, that's why I preach having, you know, emergency funds and all that kind of stuff. James Jones personally, I prefer the Milwaukee stuff over Snap-on electric with the exception of the 1/4-inch 1414 impact wrench. Can't beat the rocker switch. Unpopular opinion, I cannot stand that rocker switch. Nothing against the tool. Before anybody starts making comments, it's nothing against the tool. I do not like the rocker switch. I wind up like I was using a coworker's tool and I was helping him out and he was holding, I think we're bolting an AC unit back on a bus or something like that. I forget what it was, but it was through a floor or through something. And, you know, I was up on a ladder and reaching above my head and, you know, I hit the thing, tighten it up. And then while I was trying to get the gun off, I unscrewed it and the bolt fell out and we had to go do it all over again because of that rocker switch. I just don't like it. I want a physical switch that changes directions. Personal preference. Aunt D, have used the Lisle mini pry bars. Just got mine this afternoon. One has a striking cap on it as well. Cool. Larney 66, I mainly use air for pure power, but Snap-on cordless is what I've been leaning towards as far as cordless ratchets. Big Sean, still waiting on my fuel 1/2-inch gun and my fuel 1/4-inch ratchet. Aunt D, another reason to build up an emergency fund. Exactly. So many people just, excuse me. SWK fame is why you're not yelling, Scotty. I am not Scotty Kilmer. You know, there's stuff I really don't like about, can't remember his name right now. I'm drawing a complete blank on his name. I can see his face. He's going to be retiring soon, but he preaches no credit and all, you know, all this stuff. And, you know, I don't agree with no credit. I think living without a credit score is a bad idea. And the easiest way to get credit is with a credit card. And the easiest way to not get into credit card debt is pay it off every month. So, Dave Ramsey, that's it. Of course I'm live and I can't remember his name, but you know, I don't like a lot of the stuff that he talks about, but there's some stuff that is just solid good information. You had Andy Dave Ramsey. But you know, so I don't agree with everything he says, but you know, yes, credit cards can be very detrimental to your financial health. Pay it off every month. And the thing about it is that, you know, this is a side rant, I guess, is you have in the United States, you have so many more protections using a credit card over a debit card. A debit card can be compromised and you can lose every bit of money in your checking account like that. In the United States, the credit card company, if there's fraud on it, you claim fraud, it's on the credit card company. So especially anything that requires a loss of control of a card, like Europe, you don't deal with this. Europe has different credit card laws. I know this is completely off the subject of tools, but we'll get back to tools here in a second. But over there, they bring a machine to you, you plug it in the machine, and you know, or it's a card and pin. You don't give anybody your card. Here in the United States, you go to a restaurant, you hand them your card, you lose possession of that card, they can go copy it. You know, they can make a copy of that card easy. And years ago, it was really common because all you needed was the number and the name and, you know, the information on the card, which you literally got when you did the carbon thing, and you could buy a lot of stuff just like that. So that's why I disagree with Dave Ramsey. Anyway, getting to a more tool-oriented or auto repair-oriented topic, let's move on. Somebody asked last week, and I know this because I have been in contact with the company. AutoFix currently does support FCA. So the login and the auto auth, all that stuff, they do now support auto auth, so you can use it with 18 and up Chrysler products. Just something I learned. So what other questions we got tonight? James Jones, I can only say that because I have smaller hand and can't switch directions on the M12 stuff without adjusting my grip on the tool. I've heard everyone with normal length fingers don't have that issue. Yeah, that was something I didn't realize. I have big hands. I mean, and I was talking with Humble Mechanic, who has smaller hands, and that's why he prefers everything M18, is because the grips are smaller because they don't have to accommodate a battery. And, you know, so his preference moved more towards M18 despite them being heavier. And for me, I don't even think about it because I've got big hands. But yeah, I mean, it's, and the thing is, the Milwaukee M18, M12 stuff is not really, you generally have to have a pretty big hand to really grip that tool right. So it's not that you have really small hands. I mean, you may, but you generally have to have bigger hands to grab an M18 or M12 over an M18. Quick Wrench Tool Junkie, you also have some automatic insurance by Visa, MasterCard, etc. For certain issue they may come up if you pay with such a card, yes. Or an American Express. American Express, if you buy any electronics, there's a extended warranty that you go through American Express to get an item replaced if it fails or whatever. So yeah, there are extra protections when using a credit card. I mean, you know, I use the crap out of points. So While people think of tool questions, I'll continue this discussion. Me and my wife's first trip to England, 100% of my flights were paid with credit card points. We flew there and back on credit card points. Chase and American Express. We stayed at a 4-star hotel in London our last day, and that was on American Express points. And I don't have credit card debt because you just use the card and you pay it off. That's when I was really working the point system. You know, there's lots of channels that get into that, but, you know, basically you get a new card, you get the bonus points, you know, they call sock drawer it. You use it to get the minimum, you know, whatever the minimum to get the bonuses are on it. And then you sock drawer it, and then you move on to the next card and next card. And well, I only did that for a little while, but, you know, and the trip we were supposed to take last year over Christmas, all the main flights was on those was on points, which has moved. So hopefully that trip will actually happen this time. 2000 MCR. Would you like to see the email from AutoFix? It is. I don't know how well it'll come off. That'll be an upcoming review. But it is specifically one of the things that it is on the auto auth support list. It may not be on the list itself, but they are now, it is now available. The thing about it is a lot of people don't think about this, but the tool has to be updated. You have to update. You have to have a current subscription, or otherwise it will not let you log in. ABDD 56 did 6 waiter oil changes today while doing regular work at my job. Fun. Quick wrench. Like I rented a car, did not buy additional insurance. Car was bumped. They covered the $500 deductible. Yep. Rich Thumb was what's going to force shops to close is going to be the equipment they should have been providing. Techs are providing their own equipment for too long, and it's not affordable anymore. Yes. Trying to think where it came from. I think it was in Stream, and a guy was talking about he was doing all the programming, etc. stuff with his Autel. Obviously not true programming, but I'm guessing they were doing a lot of BMW stuff, and they wouldn't pay for his update. He was providing the tool. They didn't, want to pay for his update, so he said, screw it, we don't do that anymore. But it's the shops that don't provide the actual equipment are the shops that are already having problems. So I think those are going to be one of the shops that don't make it through the Bidenomics of right now. What? Pocket slip on. Oh, pocket slip joint pliers. I bought a Mac little tool, and I've used it like twice. Quick wrench, I did that for a long time, paid all my bills with card, even the mortgage, and then paid it in full. Yeah. I didn't pay my mortgage with it. But you know, yeah, it's, you work the system and, you know, credit card company gets their fees and you get your points. JR Neff, long wrenches with ratcheting on one end, same size on the other end as a box wrench, and 8 through 20. Do you know where to buy? Box end, I use a set of gear wrench. Ratcheting end, I think they go up to 24. I know they go through, my kit's a 8 through 19, but I believe they have bigger sizes than that, but don't quote me on that. James Jones, thoughts on the Matco 4S? I believe the 4S got discontinued, didn't it? Boxes with hutches. Want to get a hutch, but not going to pay the snappy $8K for a hutch for them because I've had a ton of quality issues with my Snap-on Classic box. Matco quality is great on their toolboxes. Only thing I would worry about is if you deal with a lot of floor chemicals in your shop. Like I worked at a shop that we've cleaned the floors twice a week with acid, and it actually ate the paint on my Snap-on box. They do tend to have, if that's a problem for you in your shop, it's something to be aware of because it will eat the paint away and rust. But quality-wise, I would put Matco against anybody else. Quick Wrench Tool Junkie, didn't buy them small, didn't think I would use them. Like I said, I've got a small little slip joint pliers from Mac, I think, and I've used them Snap-on. They're from Snap-on, and I've used them like twice, and that was more out of, ooh, I got this tool, let me use it. If it's not broken, fix it. Ladies, don't forget to destroy that thumbs up button. Thank you very much. Learning 66, I have a 4S with no hutch, but measure out the height first. That's a good point. People don't realize, and I didn't realize it, and neither did my Matco dealer, but the Revel, because I have a Revel X and a Revel. The Revel X comes with the tall casters. The Revel, unless you order them with the tall casters, comes with short casters. So the height difference when I got them was pretty substantial. And so luckily my Mac dealer that used to be a Matco dealer had wheels on hand, and he sold them to me for a couple $100. Because, oh my God, the wheels were expensive to buy new from Matco. I know I missed a question here. Tubro, I've been asked around, and apparently a couple people who worked at CarMax have had a good positive experience. They said toolboxes are provided. They train you there. I've heard both sides. I've heard there's a lot of corporate BS you're going to have to deal with. You know, things coming down from management about this or that, which can be quite irritating. Policy changes, stuff like that. Honestly, if anything questionable and you're involved, you're probably getting fired. So, you know, like you grabbed a used tire to make your kid a tire swing, and they found out about it, you probably are going to get fired. As weird as that sounds, that kind of stuff. But I think the working conditions are generally pretty good. But you will have to put up with a lot of that corporate kind of stuff. So yeah, be careful about height, because you will have to watch your head if you're trying to stick your head in your hutch. Ant D, I'm not sure if they still do it, but Penske provided snap-on toolboxes for their techs. There was a tool allowance as well, but the techs had to buy the toolboxes. Lots of dealerships provide toolboxes for a unified look. When I was working for Challenger Lifts, there was several companies that did that. Basically, I sold the lifts, went in there, took pictures, and there'd be, walls of Snap-on or different companies' toolboxes. And it makes for a nice looking shop. But you're not the only one with a key to it. Matco. Oh, okay, the 5S line. Learning 66 says Matco has a long flex on one and box end on the other. Quick Wrench Tool Junkie was a scan tool sitting on your table in your studio or using your toolbox. Your box is virtual. It's a virtual background. I have another desk behind me. It was sitting at that desk. Email. Close that. Sorry, I'm trying to get his screenshot. That was not what I wanted to do. Sorry about that. Let's try this. I don't know how well this is going to come up. We'll highlight it. This is a screen, a snip from that email. Proprietary information, not proprietary, but I'm not giving out my contact's email address. I'm not giving out my, shipping address and all that. So, but 6, support FCA auto auth. Like I said, I can't share the entire email because I don't want people emailing my contact. She's not technical support. She's in marketing. you know, all that kind of stuff. But it says, haven't tested it yet. I haven't linked it to my account, but they say that it supports the FCA. So anyway, like I said, I've updated it. I haven't even actually turned it on yet. I just received it the other day. So I 2000 MCR. There you go. They say they support it. I haven't, like I said, I haven't logged in yet. I haven't even set it up yet. Rich Thom about the snap-on quality of the classic, just a deeper heritage box, little slides, toy casters. Yeah, it is. James Jones, does Matco still make the Revel X or normal Revel boxes? Nope, they have been discontinued. You can still get accessories for them for another year, but that's it. And honestly, I don't think I could get accessories for my toolbox because they didn't want to paint my second one to match a color that had already been discontinued. So chances are they aren't going to color match. Aunt D, that's part of the reason Penske did it, is they had to be clean and nothing on top before you punched out as well. Yeah, they want a clean aesthetic, uniform, all that. Learning 66, we're the guy that had the gear wrench version of Matco long ratchet wrenches, and the 14 millimeter fit so loose you would expect it to strip a 14 millimeter drain plug that wasn't over torqued. They're both made at Cabo, so yeah, it was kind of like magic when you grabbed it. LOL. Here, I'll do something real quick. My desk is a mess. Background. Okay, I can just turn it off. So that is coming up here in a second. That is my office. Like the server back here. Let's turn the background back on. But yeah, no, it's just my studio office. SWK famous. The flight shop I just started at has been trying to hire a mechanic for 5 years. When I did equipment inventory, I found out the AC machine was from 1998. Talk about not keeping up with equipment. Not even surprised. Stuff like that has to be, depending on the fleet shop, you know, if it's a government agency, they have to go through budgeting and all this kind of stuff. And, you know, the bureaucracy of a fleet shop. Don't feel bad. I've worked for shop I used to work at. He's since updated his equipment. But, like, his lifts were so old that, like, they didn't have even basic safety mechanisms on it. Like, one was a pull bar that when you pulled it down, it just lowered all the way down. No arm locks, nothing. And it actually almost crushed my toe because I pulled it, was doing something on the car, and had my foot under where the left arm was going. And, you know, luckily I was right at the controls, so I was able to stop it, but it would just come all the way down. T. Corellis, does anyone make a long box end wrench with one end being a flex head ratcheting wrench that isn't splined Spline drive. Matco, I think, used to. I don't think they do anymore. Don't quote me on that, but I believe at one point they had a gear wrench style with a that was just 12 point. But I think it's been long discontinued. James Jones wrench. I think my box is an epic, not a classic. Just trim pieces aren't secure. My snap-on guy won't do anything about it. That sucks. James Jones also had to replace like 8 slides now because they fell apart. Anthony, I like the channel. I appreciate it. James Jones also had a lot of quality control issues with sockets being mislabeled or not just the right size at all. I haven't had, I mean, it's so hard for me to say because I don't buy a lot of snap-on sockets anymore. I just normally just either warranty it or buy a replacement. So it's like one here or there. Jeff Neff or Junior Neff, can you buy tools from a tool dealer catalog online if there is no dealer in your area? Yes. Snap-on, Matco, and I think Mac all support. They have a store on their website. Cornwell, I do not believe does, but I haven't been to their site in a long time. Cornwell's really crappy about warranting their tools through mail, whereas Snap-on, Matco, and Mac will all do it through the mail if you don't have a tool dealer. So, James Jones, for the money they cost, I'm not pleased with them. Understandable, man. If you're not getting... Mountain wrenches are... Rich Tom, that's crazy that because my box, my old teal box, I replaced rails like right before I traded it in. So it's older than other mechanics by several years, LOL. 2000 MCR. What is your email? It's flatratemaster@gmail.com. Yeah, I mean, I don't know what to say. They say they support it. I'm going to be, I have to, set it all up and do all the updates, and I don't want to do it on the work Wi-Fi because it's work Wi-Fi. So, yeah, send it to me. flatratemaster@gmail.com. Keith Cartwright. I actually worked for DeLorean in New Jersey when it got raided by the police. Didn't get paid for the period and took 2 months to get my tools. The GM told us it was a minor setback. Talk about bad luck. That is horrible luck. Yeah, that does suck. Learning 66. Do you have any preferred beers or do you normally just stick with bourbons? It's bourbons and scotches. The only beer I really drink is Guinness, and I kind of got to be in the mood for that. But yeah, I don't drink beer. Aunt D, SWK famous. What up? When I started at Ryder, 2 of the 6 techs were in their mid 60s. Damn. T-Girls, I have the Icon long box wrenches with the ratchet on the one end. That's a 12 point, but at times I wish the other end was flex. Yeah. SWK famous. Aunt D, to be fair, I have tools in my toolbox older than him too. I've got tools in my toolbox that are from the Vietnam War. So I have my small pop rivet gun is from Kmart. And yes, I have tools that are older than that. Heck, my Popular Mechanics stuff is going to be over 30 years old now. The sump pump guy, what's your opinion of quick release feature on ratchets? I don't like it. A lot of times I'll put my thumb or my palm on the ratchet head when I'm just, trying to run something down and I don't want to grab a power tool. And obviously it'll pop off. But a lot of times when you're going into weird places, you'll hit that and you'll dislocate the socket. So I don't like quick release. I prefer just a standard ball detent. It pulls off with your hand, so I don't see the point of locking it on like that and having it fall off anyway. But it comes down to personal preference. Aunt D, some of my go-to snap-on 3/8 ratchets is from the 1930s, which is fitting. Most of the cars I work on are also from the 30s. Well, damn. James Zone, you'd think with everyone going to DVIs, they would improve the Wi-Fi to better support the tablets and whatever they use, plus the FCA stuff on so many vehicles where you need the internet. You'd think, but it is what it is. I mean, I have excellent Wi-Fi in my house. To be fair, I have, my internet is 6E in my house. So, up to 1.2 gigabits, which I don't get, but I get a gigabit, and when I do a speed test, I can get a gigabit almost through my my network here in the office. But my upload speed is not as good, so that kind of sucks. But that's the illustrious copper coaxial connection I have. James Jones, I'll give you a story. At the old shop, my ex-boss, when he switched over to RO Rider, he was not that understanding of network configuration. Like, he is his own IT specialist at the shop. He does, he operates the server. He does, all the networking, all that kind of stuff. He has contractors run the wires, but he had a junky, cheap switch that couldn't handle the bandwidth of RO Rider. And, so he had to upgrade to a Cisco switch simply because his switch didn't have the processing power for the number of systems he had in that building. He did put in a decent Wi-Fi system though. But yeah, no, it's most shop owners have no clue when it comes to IT stuff. They just, throw a wireless router attached to their, whatever they get from their ISP and hope it works. And then maybe not even change the default password. So it is what it is. Or they'll cut off Wi-Fi so the techs aren't watching, porn on their phones or whatever when they're not doing stuff. Lerny 66. Oh yeah, Guinness is good. Junior Neff, the teal box Snap-on Bel Air. My uncle bought one in 95, and I think still has the box. I do not have my box anymore. I outgrew it. I'm not. A lot of people were like, "Oh, you should have kept it," and it was a working box for 20 years. it had dings and dents, and it wasn't a collector's item. You know, it was a working box, and I'm not really sentimental over that kind of stuff. You know, for me, it was a more practical. I needed a lot more room. I was running out of that box and a Matco for, lower tube bank, and I was maxed out on space. So it was more just, I need more space. Quick Wrench Tool Junkie, don't buy Snappy Hunter Tooth. You will hate them. You can't push switch on them or they go to neutral. Yeah, I've seen those videos, dude. You figure Snap-on building ratchets for how many years? They would be able to build a new one without that kind of problem. Eric Jano, what is your go-to ratchet, long neck or regular neck? My go-to ratchet is a standard length flex head locking Matco ratchet. Pretty much my go-to is, now that's in 3/8 and 1/4 inch. In 1/2 inch drive, my long Matco locking flex head, kind of a theme. Because generally when I'm using that thing, I'm turning an engine over, I'm breaking, GM caliper bolts loose, that kind of stuff. But my normal is a standard locking flex head. Warren Cash, why do veterans in automotive don't want to train the young guys with no experience when we're in our positions at one point? Part of that, Warren, is the mentality of when guys, let's be honest, my age were coming up in this industry. The old guys didn't want to teach us. It was, I don't understand it. If a young technician comes to me and needs help, I'm going to help them. I'm going to, put them on a path that will help them be successful. The whole reason I started this channel was to help young technicians. And unfortunately, it's a mentality. Some of it, like the dealership mentality of all, the only one that matters is me and my hours. That creeps into it. There's lots of factors, but unfortunately, some people don't want to help. Some people don't care about helping. Some people think that's how it should be, is, they didn't get the help they needed when they were, young tech. Why should they help you? Some of it is honestly abuse. I've seen some techs that get asked over and over and over again for help, and they realize that they're not really, they're not really learning anything. They're just looking for the silver bullet. That doesn't help, but I still would rather help a young tech, even if it's kind of a waste of my time, because I always hope they're going to learn and pick something up. But yeah, it sucks when older techs don't help. Mars from Cali, what's your opinion on what makes a tech a master? ASE's tech school experience, experience how much and how long? If anybody claims they're a master other than a master automotive technician, I'm an ASE certified master automotive technician. I say it that way. Do I claim to be an actual master technician? No. I'm a generalist. I'm not a master of anything in the automotive industry. Don't think my my channel's name is Flat Rate Master. It was because it flowed well and conveyed what I wanted it to convey. But to be an experienced all-around tech takes experience. how long it takes you to get the experience depends on your life's journey. You know, if let's say you're a really smart young technician and you go to work at a shop that only lets you do brakes and alternators, and they don't let you touch a check engine light, you know, they don't let you progress, and you've been there for 20 years, well, you're obviously not going to be a master because you were never allowed to grow as a technician into all the expertise that you need to be considered a master. And whereas a guy that, like me, that kind of became the go-to diagnostic guy, you know, very quickly in my career, because I like messing with those newfangled electric things, they're going to have a very different journey. So there is no time on how long it takes you, but the ability to go into any situation and most of the time come out with a positive outcome is really what makes you a master. Hope that kind of gives you my opinion on it. Anybody that claims they're a master technician without having a like ASE or, you know, world class from GM or master, you know, Toyota technician, it's a piece of paper. 2000 MCR, I will send it and I'll ask my rep about that. So, okay, let me get back to where I was. Keith Cartwright, veterans used to get paid. No, they didn't. Not in my experience. They were not. I was never anybody's apprentice. I was never anybody's. Now, that did happen in like Canada and some places, dealerships to some extent. But, you know, a lot of guys actually learned under Humble Mechanic as a apprentice kind of role at his dealership. But most in my position, I only got paid as a shop foreman to help young techs. Fu Man Poo, I have 6 toes on both feet. 6 toes on one foot or 6 toes on both feet combined. If it's not broken, fix it. I was willing to train a new guy, but everything I was teaching, he would go to YouTube and do it the way YouTube said to do it. So I gave up. I just tell him to go to the manual. And don't blame your, you know, generations on that. That's been a problem forever. People want the easiest way out. Rich Thumb, I worked in dealers in the 90s. No one would help anyone. You only did what you did. If you were a trans guy, it had a window motor, you had to give it to the window job to the trim guy. Nuts. Yeah, dealerships used to be very compartmentalized back in the day. James Jones, same here. I try to help train newer techs, and either they don't listen or they do listen and still don't take your advice. Have had to go behind safety eyes because they didn't listen. Again, that's not a current generation problem. That's a every generation problem. It's not a good thing that they're doing it unsafe. Like I said, 2000 MCR, I'll send it on to my contact. He's over 300 million in net worth for a reason. Yeah. Has nothing to do with the millions of books he's written and the syndicated talk show that he's worth 300 million. And actually, I think it's a lot more than 300 million. But, you know, he has a syndicated radio show on his own network. So he's rich for a lot of reasons. Mars from Cali listens to my channel going to work and home. Appreciate it. Thanks. James Jones, many of the younger techs have a hard time understanding they could be wrong and there's a better way to do something. Strong head kids. I mean, you know, every teenager is always right about, every teenager knows everything there is to know until they realize they don't. It's just something. Keith Cartwright, no one is a master of everything. I've been called a hero one day and a bum the next. Yes. Yes. People give me crap about the name of the channel, but literally that's what it was, is just, it flowed well and conveyed what I wanted to convey. And it's like, I'm not the fastest tech in the world. I'm not the slowest tech in the world. And I do not claim to be a master of anything. But, train me somebody. I need a skill in a trade. Master of puppets. Fu Manpu, you are a trip. Aunt D, most of the people that say they are a master of anything are not. Some of the best mechanic techs I've worked with think through the issue. Yeah, no, I've spent many, many, many days of my life staring at a computer screen, looking at a wiring diagram, looking at, a code set criteria, just staring at a, vehicle, staring at off into space, trying to think of what I should test. And, if anybody claims they know they're a master of diagnostics or whatever, they're full of it. Because you should always be learning stuff, and there's always stuff to learn. Toxic sniping. When did you get your first job in the industry? It is coming up on 30 years ago. Do the math. I was in tech school and I worked on garbage trucks. And then I went to work on cars. James Down, is there a way to tell without tear down if the valves aren't closing or if the rings are worn, washed out? Have low compression on 3 and 4 around 90 psi, while 1 or 2 are about 130. A leak down test is pretty much the best way, or not the best way, but a good way. You literally, you don't even have, all you can use it. You can use a pressure valve. You don't need a gauge. For years, I did not have a leak down tester. Use your compression gauge, take the Schrader valve out of it with a regulator on an air hose, slowly add with it a top dead center with all the valves closed, put in 90 PSI, listen for where the air comes out. If it comes out the intake, you've got intake valve problems. Comes out the exhaust, you've got exhaust valve problems. Comes out the cooling system, you've got cooling system problems. If it comes out the crankcase, you have bad valves or bad rings. Another way is with a pressure transducer and a scope. Much more complicated, but it gives you a lot of good information with very little effort. I cannot explain that in a live stream, but that's the methods I would use. Charles Johnson, I'm a young tech, did a pre-inspection on a 14 Dodge Journey 2.4, had a bad coil suspension problem, bad drive pools, oil and coolant leaks. Well, the service sold $3,700 worth of work. Nice. James Jones, it's causing a misfire when cold until the motor has a little heat in it. That generally, I mean, that could be rings, or it could be valves. It's more common for valves because the valve heats up a little bit and seals better. But yeah, do a leak down test on it. Junior Neff Ford, aka Blue Oval, has come to town near Brownsville, Tennessee, building batteries for electric trucks. How are they going to be shipping the batteries to the factory? I-40 has enough problems already. Yeah. I can attest to I-40 sucking. Aunt D, even with the old iron, there's always something to learn. Yes. Charles Johnson, basically after swapping out the leaking thermostat assembly, I discovered the head gasket was blown. Oh, dude, that sucks. It was too difficult to tell. Had 1 hour to inspect the vehicle. You're not, without doing extensive testing, you're never going to find a head gasket's blown. You know, that just sucks. Hopefully everybody involved will reconcile, and it's not on you, dude. That's something you're not going to be able to predict within a 1 hour inspection. Keith Cartwright, I've gotten in big trouble at dealerships for clearing a ticket. That's how this big business used to be. Eric Sosa, has anyone started out in this trade? A good option for a cheap storage system that is the Husky Connect system is about $100. I used it for 3 months so far and had beat to crap. Husky Connect system. I am not familiar with the Husky Connect system. Oh yeah, no, I mean, that is a ripoff of the Milwaukee system. I don't. James Jones, do you have a recommendation for a leak down tester or a pressure tester? OTC or Lang Tools? You can buy both on Amazon, so both are going to be good. Lang is an OEM ODM for a lot of the tool brands, probably Snap-on. Not sure on that one, but I believe it is. So just get Lang or OTC. Do you need it to be mobile, Eric? Because you can go get a decent roll cart for a couple $100 from Harbor Freight, and they're good. T. Corrales, on the flip side of the coin of old techs don't want to teach new techs, there's new techs beating themselves up because they're starting out as a lube tech, tire guy. Yes, everybody's got to start somewhere. There will be a video actually coming about that, talking about you have to start somewhere. And it's crazy that, and, you know, again, probably not a problem with this generation, but a lot of people just want, you know, the quick, easy path. So, Aunt D, I was going to say leak down. Yeah, I made a leak down tester with an old refrigerant manifold, some homemade adapters. It worked. I used the hoses off my compression gauge and a $15 air regulator that I bought at Home Depot. Junior Neff says, hit the thumbs up, people. Blaine, our senior techs, best techs are humble. I compliment it to them, and they say pretty much the same thing. You have to be humble because no one knows it all. No, you don't know it all. I don't care who you are. You don't know it all. Toxic sniping. How do you think things will change when there are mostly electric cars on the road. There's going to be a pretty large divide in the technician base. There's going to be a bigger need for heavy line techs. Batteries are heavy line. Tire techs are going to be in huge demands. Most electric cars burn through tires in 15,000 miles, but it'll go easily 100,000 miles on brakes. So a lot of that kind of easy gravy work that we're used to is going to go away. Some of it will not, because there's still cooling systems, there's still lubrication systems, there's still going to be stuff that needs to be done. And then there's going to have to be the high-end techs that do all the complex diagnostics, the ADAS calibrations, because ADAS is only going to get more involved and more involved. So there's going to be a huge demand for those high-level guys, huge demand for the guys willing to, lift heavy things, replacing, transmissions or, motors and, their batteries and stuff like that. So it's just going to change. It's not really the end of our industry. It's just an evolution of our industry. ...2009 Corolla, it needs an engine. 124,000, it needs an engine. Aunt D, the old mechanics I worked with in either in trucking or old cars would shut up on how us youths could do things better. Yeah. Rich Throm, when you apply for a loop tech, tell the manager that within 6 months you expect to move to used cars or line. That way, if it doesn't happen, it's on them. It all depends on where you go to work, because every situation is different. If it's not broken, fix it. The diagnostics side of electric side will be fun. At least it is on the heavy equipment side. It's going to be a lot of fun. I mean, people are going to have to learn a lot of different systems that they are not used to. Like the Cybertruck has PoE, Power over Ethernet, as communication for all the modules in the car. Technicians don't understand Ethernet. Most technicians. It's standard twisted wire communication. 6 twisted pairs. It's not hard. But they'll have to learn it. And that's the thing, is with any technology, you just have to adapt and learn the new stuff. So yeah, it'll be fun. It's, like I said, it's not a... James Jones, that's what I said, but I'm one of those people that can't sleep without knowing what failed. Plus, I think it makes selling the motor easier for the advisors. Say it's the ring valves or rings. I agree. I mean, I would still continue diagnosing it. I would do a leak down test and verify what's actually messed up. But yeah, no, I don't blame you on that. It's just, regardless, it's gonna need an engine. And a leak down test on a 4-cylinder Corolla is not going to take you that much time anyway. So, Charlie Magoo, not just technicians, but customer will have to get used to intermittent issues. No fun there. No. Intermittent issues can be put aside till they're not as intermittent. Because I've told service writers so many times over the years, if it doesn't do it with me, that I have test equipment hooked to it and can determine the cause while it's doing it, I can't fix it. James Jones, I know the injector 3 and 4 injectors are sticking, so I'm leaning towards washed out rings. Possible. You can put motor oil down those cylinders or transmission fluid with the injectors disabled. Crank it over a bunch of times, see if the compression comes back. If the compression comes back, it's rings. It's called a wet compression test. But it will not. That will only determine if the rings are leaking. So, James Jones saying about to send an Audi Q7 out the door because it was an intermittent issue and I can't duplicate it. I run into that all the time. I can't duplicate an issue. I can't diagnose it. You know, I you know, it's as simple as that. You know, I always love the when I go over, hit a pothole at 42 miles an hour going uphill in the rain. Wait, stop there. How would you like me to replicate that? You can't. Eric Sozo on the forklift side, same. Forklift systems are now operating on 48 volt systems, and now it's more about CAN and bus communication. Yeah. Thing about, with EVs, they can operate on whatever voltage they want. It doesn't have to be 12 volts or 6 volts. You put a voltage regulator in the system and it can be whatever voltage you want. So, Ant D, gas, diesel, EV, the parts will change and will adapt. My current day job is a heavy truck shop, body shop now. There's always going to be broken stuff to fix. Yep. Oh, yeah. T. Corellis, I wonder what's going to happen in the Class H world and the overall workflow compared to now. A lot of our work in our fleet is with DEF, one box, emissions, diagnostics. We won't need it with electric. One, that is going to be a ways off for any sort of long haul truckers, simply because of, let's be honest, range. Stopping a truck and charging for 8 hours is not going to bode well for, that truckload of tomatoes coming out of, the farm. So it's a little further off for the trucking industry as far as long haul. City trucks are probably going to be the first to really do more with electric, simply because they only drive around town and then they get parked. So I don't think your workflow is going to change for a while, but when it does, it'll be just similar stuff. It'll just be different problems. Keith Cartwright, we used to work in teams with young techs and receive flag hours for helping them. They made money and you made money, work for years until some bean counter in the office ruined it. It's dealerships are just such a weird beast, because just the simple change of a general manager, shop manager, and everybody's payroll can be so messed up just simply by them changing and screwing with stuff. And and just screw up a well-running shop. T. Corrales, I can only imagine wheel seals, driveline work will still be plenty, but engine work and dev stuff gone in the coming takeover. Electric trucks, yes. Instead, you'll be replacing motors, transmissions, gearing, because they're going to need gearing, even with electric motors, and batteries. And you'd figure you're going to need change the batteries on big trucks a lot more frequently than you are with the Tesla that drives to the grocery store. So they'll be work aplenty. It's just going to be different work. Keith Cartwright, we used to work in teams with young Ted. I've already read that one. If it's not broke, fix it. I had an old service writer tell me to fix it for 3 days and 90-degree temperatures for 0.8 hours. I could not get it to fail. Yeah, no. It'd be sitting in a parking lot somewhere. Charles Magoo, I think Elon said 72 volts is ideal. Oh. That is above my pay grade. Charles Magoo, 2027 new diesel rules come in. Emissions are going to be monitored at startup. Emissions that are 10% of what they are now. Good luck with that. Renegade, what's up? Rich Thumb, ever change an anvil in a Milwaukee 1/2-inch impact? No, but it should be relatively easy. Just unbolt the cap part of it, and the anvil should be right there. But no, I haven't actually done it. Back to tools, Jeff. Junior Neff. Eric Souza today at the shop was diagnosing a forklift that was popping a fuse on the alternator. After checking it out, there was a pair of pliers stuck, making the short stuck in the body. Yeah. That'll do her. Charles Johnstone, my shop does that. I'm flagged with guarantee. Once I hit my cap hours, then I barter with my labor hours. My lead tech, it works. My rate is half is, so yeah, I barter with labor hours and it works. LOL. POV Jimmy, what's a good multimeter brand for someone who weekend job type person? Some budget flukes. OTC has one for $100. That should be good. Klein has one for $50. But the OTC one should be good. Electronic Specialties as well. Autel has a good one as well. Billy at the old shop had one of these. Autolink AL539B, diagnostic tester and DVOM. He actually had one of those. Electronic Specialties, that one's a little pricey. That one's a little more reasonable. Don't want to get off that one. That one looks pretty decent for 158. So there's lots of good options. Lots of good options for budget multimeters. They don't have to be super precise for DVOM. Jimmy, you're welcome. All right, what other tool questions we got? James Jones, cheap but reliable OBD memory saver. Always hate finding the damn code for Hondas, plus have some issues with ADAS being reset after changing. Um, all right. I use the Schumacher and my jump box. $20. Actually, I don't think it's a Schumacher. But anyway, plug into a traditional jump box with a cigarette lighter, throw it in the front seat, plug it in, and charge it. The Easy Red also works well. That's USB. I mean, that would work well with a late model lithium ion jump box, but I don't use that. But yeah, this Easy Red one works well as well. Yeah, actually, that's the one I have right there from Easy Red. Bosch. Yeah, I don't think I would recommend any of these. But yeah, either the Easy Red and a jump box, or the Easy Red actual box with a battery in it. Obviously, that's got a battery in it, 1 unit. Ant D, I have a few Cornwall basic meters as well, around $100, and do most things. Yeah. Charles Johnson, I saw an amazing telescoping adjustable crowfoot type pry bar from Matco today. I felt like the Grim Reaper holding it. It's $380. Should have gotten it. JR Neff, a good meter plus VO, dang good meter, auto DC when you turn it on. Sweet. You're welcome, Jimmy. I don't know. I've never been a crowfoot pry bar user much, and I'm not really much on adjustable pry bars in general. I've broken pry bars, but plus the VO is $40. Good meter. Cool. Charles Palua, I never talk about tools, but do you have any help on yanking a dash out of a 19 Cherokee? Changing an evap core, book time is 8.1. I have 7 hours in it. I haven't seen the evaporator core yet. I don't think I've done a 19 yet. I don't think I have. I wrote one up, but he declined. And the shop manager made me recharge it, which was going to last about 24 hours. So I don't think so. All right. What other questions we got? LOL, Charles. No, I don't. I talked about that. I don't think I've ever actually pulled that late model of a Jeep Grand Cherokee. The dash pulls are always one of those things that the first one you do kicks your butt, you lose time on it. And then once you figure out where all the hidden screws and bolts are, the next one goes really fast. Like I can replace, blend door actuators in Tahoes in hours, not, forget what it pays, but I've gotten so used to doing those, pulling the dash out, doesn't even, I don't even think about it. It's just like autopilot because I've done so many. Positive Incarnate, I just got a test long articulating borescope, and it's actually pretty cool. I'm trying to decide because I want to get one of these articulating borescopes. I just haven't decided which one I'm going to get. Because I do think they are pretty cool. It's there used to be a really expensive one that articulated, and they got, the technology wasn't originally automotive anyway. And then, because it came from the medical field, and then company came out with an automotive version, and now it's being copied by everybody in China. So I just haven't decided the one I want to get to test. So because Aaron at the old shop recommended a brand as well, and I just haven't pulled the trigger on which one I want to test. Because, to be honest, it's going to be for a video. All right, so what other questions we got? We've been on for almost an hour and a half, so, and haven't lost internet, which I'm happy about. James Jones, magnetic swivel sockets are a must for dash pulls, and magnetic bit drivers are always dropping those darn screws. Oh yeah. All of my extended bits for my impact driver are magnetic. They don't actually have a magnetic tip on them. They're all magnetized. Charles, it's kind of like a 2000 Expedition with 2020 electronics. It's a nightmare. Book time is a liar. Charles Johnstone, I messaged my Matco. I ordered the adjustable Grim Reaper. Just saying. Well, cool. JR Neff, tell the young techs about gray pneumatic sockets, cheap, last their life if you don't lose it. I mean, yeah, gray pneumatic sockets are good. Aunt D, do you know of a somewhat affordable tap and die kit? I have a 76-piece Irwins, but I'm not selling them. And the new ones are crazy expensive or junk. Yes. Astro Pneumatic. They have a really good set. I don't think it's a 76-piece, but they have a really good set. They're made with Japanese steel. That's where I would go if I was looking to replace my Irwins. Charles says I can yank a dash out of a 250 Ford any newer Chevy in an hour to see this box. The box this Jeep is kicking my James Jones said try gear wrench. Let's see. Medic. Yeah, the Astro Pneumatic kit is $69.77. So pretty affordable for, that's SAE. Oh, metric. $69.99 on Pen Tool. But yeah, that's a good affordable kit for tap and die. And I know they use Japanese steel. James Jones Gear Wrench is not the supplier for their tap and dies. They have not bought anything from Gear Wrench in years. They were the first when the ownership of Matco went to a private equity company. They started dropping all their ties with Gear Wrench. They are now PTT, if I'm not mistaken. They're made by the parent company of Sunex. So, but they are no longer gear wrench. They used to be. A lot of stuff on that truck used to be gear wrench. Positivity Incarnate, if you don't mind, which features in a scan tool would you tier from lowest to highest? Like reading codes, bidirectional, IMEO, etc. Graphing, having all the bidirectional controls I need, having all the information I need, being the most complete tool. I want to see what a factory scan tool would show me. I want everything. And I don't think in every brand across the world does anybody do that, but Launch and Autel do a really good job of doing that. IMEO is going away. Sorry. With the new rules, it's going to be going away. But bidirectional controls are one of the biggest things I want to be able to do the testing I need to do, and I need bidirectional controls to test it. So whether I'm testing it with PIDs or with a scope, I need those bidirectional controls. So I can't really rank because it boils down to a lot of makes versus makes on various scan tools, which one's better. So I would, but that's where I would rank it is, PIDs and bidirectional controls. Kits look almost identical because they kind of copy them. Pork chop fabrication, watch your video about burnout, and unfortunately it is in all careers. Yes, it is. Burnout is a problem for everybody, but it's a very much environmental issue. You get bored of a job and you get burned out. But if everything's, hectic, run, you're going to burn out faster. That's just a fact of life. Law enforcement's very stressful. You're going to have burnout because of stress. Aunt D, I'll have to check them out. Irwin lives in my work truck and my coworkers use them often. James Jones, wow, my Matco guy is awesome. That's because you will warranty them for the Matco stuff. Yeah, no, I mean, he's taking care of you. If they were the old Matco stuff, they just cross the numbers over to the new Matco line and warranty them as Matco. So, but if he's warrantying, gear wrench branded stuff, he's just taking care of you. Charlie Magoo, I just thought of something. Vim Tools. V612 is my go-to trim tool. Prior to only need one tool, and this is it. Hey, works for you. Junior Neff, a gear wrench truck comes to town. He was a Cornwell dealer. What to buy or not? Most of the gear wrench stuff is good. Wrenches, sockets are good. Torx and hex are mid. The wrenches are decent. The ratchets are decent. So most of their stuff is decent. I mean, it's if he's coming to the shop, you can get it warranted. So Junior says, thumbs up, people. Thank you. Rich Thumb, I choose my pay over the shop's profit, just life. We have trucks lined up outside, but I still try to max out tickets for most profit. I'm not going to burn out. Yeah, I mean, burnout comes from external pressures that you have no control over. You're just trying to take care of the customer's cars, make the shop money, make yourself money. The problem is when they're, you know, hacking down your throat going, why isn't this car gone? Why isn't this car done? Why this? They're always pressuring you. That's when the burnout happens. Positive Incarnate. Yeah, part of me is trying to figure out if I need a $400 top done or a $3K launch. I mainly use bidirectionals, PIDs, but I don't want to miss out going cheap. Most everything, like I said, the IMEO is going away. You're going to have to log in to use pretty much any IMEO feature. It's all going to come down to connectivity, screen size is the most differences. Is you go to a bigger tablet, you go Bluetooth rather than wired. But as long as everything does, you know, they list the same features, they're going to have the exact same software between top done and launch. The difference is going to be the form factor of the tool. James Jones, what's the best way you found to deal with stretch belts? Always go back to either zip ties or screwdrivers and picks. There's only one stretch belt that kicked our butts, and that was on a Ford Edge, I think. It was a Ford product for sure, but it had a stretch belt and like that much room between the firewall and the pulley. And we tried every stretch belt tool I own. We tried. All of them would not fit. The factory tool was not available and was like $400. We broke every cheap zip tie we had. We wound up, or Daniel actually at the old shop used hose clamps. Only one that I've ever seen kick everybody's butt. I normally it's normally either the simple belt tool that just pulls it on. There's a couple applications where having the right tool really does help, like that Ford product. 9 times out of 10, it's just zip ties. They're usually not that crazy tight. But yeah, most of the time the tools don't do crap. James Jones, electric ears, thoughts worth buying from the tool truck? They're all the same. They're all Steelman. Just buy the Steelman kit. Do not buy the wireless ones. Buy the wired. The wireless ones will crap out on you. Don't care what you say. They will crap out on you. They will die. Buy the wired ones. Deal with wiring them up. They will help you fix weird problems, but they are a complete pain in the butt to set up, and thus you won't use it unless you absolutely have to. Junior Neff, the burnout comes from, I fixed this 6 months later, come back for when you did. Yeah. LOL, yeah. Topher Lee, right to repair is becoming an issue here in Southern Michigan. Any thoughts on the topic regarding independent shops? Thank you so much for all your great content. Renegade, yes. Immobilizer functionality is going to be locked down. You have to have a VSP license. I did a video about it. All key programming, all that kind of stuff is going to be locked behind having a basic locksmith license. So you have to register with NSAF, NATSF, and Learning 66 I had every sensor crap out on the wireless one, so you're going to hate them no matter what. But yeah, they are getting rid of easy access to immobilizer connections. You have to sign in, put in your username and all that stuff, and then you'll be allowed to program keys and that kind of stuff. So yes, it's becoming a huge problem. Yeah, James Jones, it'll work really good for that kind of stuff. The problem with right to repair is, other than certain manufacturers pricing stuff stupid, we have everything we need to fix cars available to shops if they would just pay for it. You can buy every factory scan tool. You can buy access to programming keys. You can buy access to programming cars, the entire car. You can, get all the information, the exact same information to a point that a dealership has. You just have to pay for it. Right to repair is more about circumventing those needs of paying for something and getting it on a budget. That's my problem with right to repair is, like, you can go out right now, get a, you don't even need a dedicated, proprietary device for Toyota. Any J-Box will work with Toyota TechStream. GDS2, any J-Box. There are other manufacturers like Jeep and Chrysler and Fiat that make you use, for all the functionality, have to use their tool, their adapter. Ford kind of does the same thing. Volkswagen's a pain in the butt. Mercedes-Benz is probably the worst offender as far as, cost. But again, all of that stuff is readily available. All you need to do is spend the money, and you have access to everything. So right to repair really is about shops not wanting to spend money. So anyway, that's my rant on that. Learning 66, have you picked up the Pico NVH kit? No. We had it sent to our dealer, but I have not taken the time to play with it. Learning 66, no, because I do not want to be the noise guy. I have no interest in being a noise guy. I've already got hearing damage, so some noises aren't always readily apparent to me, and I really don't want to be the noise guy. I hate noises, so no, have not picked up that kit. Have no intention of picking up that kit. Positivity Incarnate, what tools might you recommend for serpentine belt tools? I find them a pain in the butt. I'm curious if there's any particular tool besides the basic metal ones. I currently use a Harbor Freight one, which works. I have a very basic one. It has very flat, it's a flat bar with 3/8, a 1/2 inch, and then various sockets that I never use. 9 times out of 10, the vehicles I work on, I use that bar occasionally, but 90% of what I work on, I use the my mountain wrenches. That's 90% of what I do. The rest of it is going to be weird Europeans where I will use a breaker bar and a socket and have access to it. Volkswagens where I use a 17 millimeter wrench and I have the lockout pin to lock it so I don't have to touch it until I put the belt back on. Precision or Easter, correct. Right to repair just means it exists. It's not private. It's not private now. You just have to pay for it. That's why we don't really need right to repair. if anything, we need right to repair on is things like Tesla, because they've been the one that have been pushed off the aftermarket the most. But anyway, Learning 66, me either. Noise and water leaks are the worst. Yes. What about the BMW Torx for serpentine belts? Dude, I just use a regular Torx and a ratchet. I haven't dealt with too much of the I have many dedicated tools when I work on minis. I've got all 3 of those. But BMWs, I just use a breaker, ratchet and a Torx bit. I don't know what BMW you're working on that you can't fit a normal socket in there. The ones I work on, you can. So, Charles, what's the best 2020 and newer crank socket bolt balancer socket? 24 millimeters. These little boys don't do it. I don't know. I mean, I've got a Mac one that's 24 millimeters and I've never used it. So I don't know. Charles, I can't get wiring diagrams for Tesla. Yeah, Tesla, you have to pay for their stuff like $6K a year. Eliezer Ramos Jr. Does or can you get a J-Box for the launch X41 Pro 3 scan tool? The J-Box is just a J-Box, and it's actually a rebadged Cardac. So just buy it from Cardac, because you can't use the scan tool to program. You have to use a Windows laptop. Also, how can I receive help from being locked out of my scan tool via password and resetting it? As long as it's a Launch Tech USA tool, call the 800 number and they'll be able to walk you through resetting it. They'll know your serial number based on your email address that you registered with it, and they'll be able to help you reset it. So just call in and get it reset. James Jones, don't think there's another option at the moment. No. Yeah, I'm not doing that, Charles. Astro also has a short Torx as well that might work. I don't know. I mean, I mean, usually a lot of them you have to pull the belt up a little bit to stick it in there, and then you can ratchet it over on BMWs. But if that's what you're doing, I just lift up the belt a little bit, stick it in, and then wrench it over, and then yank the socket out. No problem, Ramirez Jr. Ramos Jr. All right. James Jones, side note, if you haven't had a chance to play with a Ford Mach-E, but there's basically an entire service manual built into the service center console, service procedures, etc. That's cool. No, I haven't ever even sat in a Mach-E. So, all right, if we got no more questions, I'm going to go ahead and head out. So I appreciate everybody watching me. Pretty cool, but I'm not sure how that's going to work if the vehicle's dead. True. Positive Incarnate, what hand tools you bought that you thought were just cool? Hand tools, the one of the coolest tools, just random, would be the extended reach Matco locking flex head. Just love that thing. You know, cool hand tools. Back in the day, mountain wrenches I thought were really cool. What I can think of at the top of my head. Charles, has anyone had any 2020 Gladiators with complete intermittent cam best failures that has already been verified as not the body control module? Yes. It's this damn thing right here, probably. This bus bar. Yes. Intermittent, lose all bus communication. It is located behind the glove box. It is horrible trying to figure this crap out, but it is CAN bus that is behind the glove box. Got my butt kicked on that one, Charles. But start testing right there. And chances are you'll lose connection at that bus bar. Because Aspire, have a good one. Right to repair is a bigger issue with John Deere, Thermo King. Yes. Lots of that stuff. Appreciate it. Keep up the good Vic. Appreciate it. Pork chop fabrication. James Jones. Not sure if it's possible, but I think maybe a case study live stream instead of tool talks would be cool. I know you don't film at your new shop, but and not possible. Yeah, I don't know how preparing for that and having pictures and all that would probably not be entirely that easy. So probably not going to happen. Let me go back full screen. Appreciate everybody stopping by. You know, it's been cool having everybody here. So we're going to go ahead and head out as soon as I see myself switch over. There we go. So as always, thanks for watching. I am the Flat Rate Master.